In this section, we shall demonstrate the process of welding of a typical butt joint using short-circuit transfer. The material that we will weld is 3mm mild steel, and the practice plates have been cleaned and prepared for welding in the manner earlier described. Using a piece of 2mm welding wire, as demonstrated, a root gap is created between the plates. Check the machine settings, which should be already set up for 3mm plate, namely 18 volts and 9 meters per minute on the wire feeder. Next, reset the stick-out on the electrode wire and apply some anti-spatter spray to the nozzle. We will now tack weld the two plates. The arc is struck, as you learned in the previous exercise, and a short bead is made at one end of the joint. After the first tack, the root gap must be checked and, if necessary, realigned in an appropriate manner. We need only make 2 tack welds, one at each end of the joint. Backing plates of clean metal are positioned as demonstrated beneath the work in order to raise the weld area off the metal bench surface, thereby reducing heat loss to surrounding surfaces and ensuring good penetration. Full welding can now begin. Using the exact same techniques that you learnt in the previous exercise, we will run a stringer bead along the seam. Let us observe the action. Remember the tips mentioned in the last exercise. Keep the electrode tip slightly ahead of the weld pool center. Concentrate on holding a steady nozzle-to-work distance. Keep the nozzle at a fixed angle and listen to the weld. At the end of the joint, run the arc back onto the bead and then stop the weld. Allow post-flow to continue over the crater until the redness has disappeared. Let's take a look at our weld. Here we can see that the bead width is reasonably uniform all along the seam. There is some spatter, but this is not excessive for short-circuit transfer. On the reverse side, we see that we have full penetration of filler as indicated by the narrow root bead. Any acceptable weld is primarily the result of the welder's skill in coordinating the following: consistent arc length, correct travel speed and weld pool size control, consistent torch angle, and of course the correct machine settings.